we're always in danger, I feel, of like giving away the magic trick, and sometimes I don't want to talk about how we did stuff as much, but of course you guys, this is important for you, so I'll talk about it. But a successful visual effect, in my opinion, is one that you just kind of like let go of because it just feels natural, it feels real. I felt like the animals there, the giant wolves, which very wisely you recommended we use horses as the base for it, because at one point we were not going to do that.
Right.
And then that was a shift in the plan of how to make these things real. Between the rendering and Natasha's believability with how she approaches them, that you just kind of let go the fact that they're riding these giant beasts, that aren't from our world at all. Because they're one of the things we were most worried about going in.
Yeah, it's true.
So talk about the howlers a little bit.
I think there's a couple of things that were really key on helping making them successful. I think one of them was the fact that, like in anything, even now when you talk to artists and they're trying to create a thing in a frame, you want to know, what's your reference? What are you looking at? Do you have a landscape picture? Do you have a picture of a creature as a fish? What's your reference? And obviously, the reference was your dog, Wolfie.
My dog, he was there.
Which was really beneficial because oftentimes you would send me a cell phone picture of Wolfie lying down or doing something, and the way that the hair was matted or the way that the hair was groomed or whatever it always kind of gave us that single reference point, rather than kind of constantly chasing a fantastical idea.
Right.
It was always bringing it back to a reality. Once you and Doug had worked on the designs and got those fantastical elements in there, it's like, okay, now this is what we need to kind of follow. We always had it in the back of our minds that the horse might need to be the driver, but one of the things that was challenging, and both Hal and Cav talked about, was the anatomy of a horse and anatomy of a dog are quite different.
Right.
But again, both you and Doug were flexible. Once we brought information to the table and kind of showed you what we wanted to do, you were flexible enough to change the anatomy of the howler to allow it to work better with the horse being the driver. And I think the one thing that we learned is, as long as we stayed away from the trot, we felt like it would work.
Yeah, I mean, they just have a different gait, how they move. So you've got to sort of make sure that what you shoot on set is, what we match with the CG. And then giving it personality, Wolfie is a real personality,
Yeah.
And I love those
go that
scenes.
broad, but,
Yeah, but I love those scenes that you wrote where you see the interaction between the rider and the wolf, and you see the howlers interacting with the people, and fun little moments.
Well, I think that was a challenge, but it was interesting because I come from animation, and so I think my leaning is to give an animal a lot of character. And I have dogs, so I know he has a lot of character, like you said, but as animators, we had to sit there and say, well, how much would be too much? When has this character of this animal gone too far? Knowing that even in Star Wars, we have things that very much are like Muppets and puppets and, fun over-the-top creatures. Yes. But so when Sabine is scolding it or arguing with it, it has to have a personality where it looks sad or looks afraid. I was saying it goes through a little arc from being something that's almost hideous looking when it's introduced and maybe aggressive or maybe dangerous to being almost feeling quite domesticated. Like it's her buddy, it's her dog. So, that's a level of animation to try to get that character feeling believable, real, but also Star Wars real, so it fits in with the whole landscape of creatures we've had in the entire saga.
I think the other thing that was really helpful, it was very clear to you from the very beginning the character of the howler, but in addition to that, creating the story reel, as we always do on these shows, when you worked with the sound design in the edit to put in the right kind of sounds that helped describe to the animators and everybody working on it what you were trying to get across in that particular moment, rather than just trying to read the page and look at a guy with a blue head that was acting out the howler. Right. You had all those sound cues that really helped everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah, the lip smacking, licking.
Yeah.
All the
little
noises,
little
dog things. Yeah, I mean that's just just.
Well, I think people don't know the dog was on set. He was there the whole shoot. And I think that
Giving comments.
yeah, people got to see when you guys well, you did some kind of photography on him, right? Like,
Yeah.
I got this whole photo shoot of my
Yeah.
dog on a white background because I kept saying that like the hair needs to look like that.
And we kept trimming hair off of him the whole
Yeah,
time.
it's
and
crazy.
taking- it was-
Sampling his DNA. Yeah.
War is inevitable. One must destroy in order to create. We are no Jedi.
I started hearing whispers of Thrawn's return as heir to the Empire.
What happens when we find Thrawn?
Power, such as you've never dreamed.
I've spent most of my life fighting a war. That's why I'm trying to convince you to help me prevent another one. You and I both know who could help you with this.
She's still just as stubborn as ever.
I bet your master found you difficult at times.
Anakin never got to finish my training. I walked away from him, just like I walked away from Sabine.
You never made things easy for me, Master.
As a Jedi, sometimes you have to make the decision no one else can. But I'm counting on you to see this through.
Nice haircut. Sometimes we have to do what's right, regardless of our personal feelings.
Buckle up.
If we don't stop Thrawn, everything will be in vain. You have no power.
Anakin spoke highly of you.
I'm not here to discuss my past.
We have a lot of work to do.
Once a rebel, always a rebel.